Hello, everybody, and welcome to Three Kobolds Gaming, where we play Pathfinder 2nd Edition as we continue our Heroes of Absalom story.
Yo.
Before we do that, though, I wanted to take a moment to flex on the RPG community and myself a little bit, because this week has been a really good week for tabletop gaming for myself.
Okay.
Not to brag too much, but I played 4 different sessions of 4 different role-playing games this week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
Wow.
not gonna lie.
So not only do I have a consistent group that I run, which is already a flex on the RPG community,
Yeah. Huge.
that alone.
but all 4 of those games was at least the second week or second scheduled session in a row.
You gotta stop.
So, you could say,
That may be unprecedented.
yeah.
You're leaving reality behind right now.
Honestly,
In one campaign more than others, Dan.
Yes.
Huh.
Some people work to support their lifestyle. I work to support 4 different fantasies. No, I was very lucky to have a lot of my really good friends there as well. All of you joined me in Ben's game of Delta Green.
So fun.
So our session 0 was last week, and we started session 1 this week, and it was awesome. Ben, big shout out, man. I'm so excited about that.
Don't be shouting me out when you're insane.
No, that's fine. That's part of the fun, right?
we'll be shouting out for other reasons.
Other reasons,
Our
exactly.
Kashak's player here, Jack. As many of you know, I'm already in his long running Pathfinder First
Long-running.
Edition campaign, and then I played Traveler with Emily Grace and some of my personal buddies, Traveler RPG, which is a fun little space game.
How is Traveler?
It's
Good
a
things about it. Yeah.
it's a lot of fun if you don't take the books too seriously, because the thing I've noticed about Traveler, the book specifically, and this is coming from somebody who is like very much like a rules person, like a very heavy rules person.
Yeah.
There are so many inconsistencies in
no.
the Traveler core rulebook. It contradicts itself. And then there are also contradictions within its supplements. And there's also just a lot of things that are just never stated or explained.
Double no.
And I'm running that, and that's been a challenge for me as a rules person. It's like,
So you're just having to make shit up on the fly. Like,
Yeah.
You're just
I'm
making,
like, I have this thing on my character sheet, and Will's like, what does that do? And I'm like, I don't know. I
have
wrote
no idea.
exactly the words that were on it, and it says this. No description. Like,
one of my players is trying to basically become a race car driver in space, but it's like a
Pod racer?
yeah, basically.
basically.
And there's like 6 different rules sets that you can use to build your own car, and none of them really go together very well. So it's been really interesting, but we're making it work. But
And he's not even the one who owns the spaceship.
yeah,
It
this-
sounds fun as hell. Like just the Firefly, like early like Star
Yes.
Wars 1-2 kind of
Yes.
theme of it, where it's like really space western. Seems really cool.
it's
Yeah.
a really cool game. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
You just have to
I
have
don't
a group.
understand anything that's going on.
Yeah, you just have to. Basically, I came to them as
Sometimes
like,
that's the best, though.
this is the like 4th campaign that I'm signing up for, and I'm running it. So just to let you guys know, we're just gonna kind of shoot the shit and have fun, and
Yeah.
blow stuff up in space. And if you're coming at it from that angle, that's awesome. If
Yeah.
you're coming at
Yeah.
it from a very serious like space opera, dramatic storytelling moment, you're gonna have to do some work, but that's okay, right? If that's the kind of game you want to run, you can make that work. If you
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean,
be the
you could just make it like your version of Star Wars minus the lightsabers, right? Like
Yeah,
that's a
I
real
mean, you
thing.
really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can even make it with the lightsabers, because 2 of my characters have
I do have a
lightsabers and
lightsaber,
everything but
it's
name.
true.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Laser sword TM.
yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't think any of you have seen She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. But
I've not. No.
my character is heavily inspired by Entrapta, from the
Great
series. She's great. She's an inventor who is very socially awkward, and very wanting to be in control of situations that she doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of fun.
It's a great game. You can be, the bridge crew from the Star Trek Enterprise type stuff, or you can do like Firefly or whatever, any kind of space game. It's really good for that kind of setting.
I've heard good things about it.
Setting
Yeah,
agnostic
it's good to hear
standpoint.
that you're having fun thus far.
But yeah, no, it's great. But like I said, I just wanted to flex on both myself and the rest of the RPG community for A, being able to play a lot of great games, and B, not having anything else to do with my life.
You guys think there are other hobbies? I mean, this is a rhetorical question because, like, obviously, but do you guys think that there are other hobbies that somebody gets into for the first time and they're like, "Oh, this is my life now. Like, this is what I do." In the same way that I think a lot of us have gotten into these kinds of games, and it's just like, yeah, this is 4 nights of my week, decently regularly, sometimes maybe 5 if I'm lucky, and like that's a good thing. Like, that's awesome.
I mean, yes, to
mean,
like a certain extent,
sure.
but it's different. It comes in, I think, different flavors, probably.
Yeah, I've never I don't have like a lot of hobbies at the same level of this. Like I've got a few things kind of working as pastimes, but like this has been my major hobby since I started playing it in 2019.
Oh, I have ADHD, which means that I have a new hobby every other month or so.
Yeah.
So, or like it recycles sometimes. But
Well, and that's
like,
the
I'll go back
fixation
to
I'm talking about, which is like, I'm sure
Yeah.
you experience this all the time. You talk about it a good amount, where it's like, oh, for the next week, this is what I'm going to do with any moment of free time that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But like we've been doing this for years. this has been going on forever. So like that level of fixation on this seems like a uniquely gaming hobby and a role playing game hobby that like people get into video games and stuff, but like to the same level, I don't really know.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever met like an equinist or
Equestrian?
equestrian. That's the word. Thank you.
Oh, a horse girl? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys ride horses too.
I've met a few horse days in my life.
Yeah. I think people who are dedicated to their hobbies make it a priority.
That's true.
in their
I
life.
mean,
I'm more insensitive, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just ignore Jack constantly.
That's normally the.
We're gonna lose the equestrian fan base now. So you, Jack.
Oh no.
Although, I don't know, pro
I mean, I
bowlers might
called
give us a
them,
run too.
Equists.
Equists.
I said the equinist. I did not say the equists.
Equinistarian. Yeah.
Well,
It's just gonna suck because you're gonna lose the people that ride the horses and the horses in the community. They're gonna stop watching.
Oh, I love horses.
That's the double hit we're gonna see on our
there goes a
viewership.
third of our viewers. We lost the horse section of the population.
The horse and that girl who rides it. Watch our show.
We just get on the line with our public relations officer and
Who
we'll
is in
figure
fact
this
the
out.
horse? So they have a good leg to
Yeah,
stand
who
on.
is this fat horse?
Well, there's our first problem.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, speaking of worlds in which horses can be public relations specialists, we are in the world of Galarian in our story.
Oh?
In a little city known as Absalom. You all are...
Super little, small town, probably never heard
Yeah,
of it.
well,
Yeah.
It's a one-stoplight town, you know.
Little corner of the world, yeah.
You all are not even really in the town. You're under the city at the moment in ancient religious crypts.
See, I told you it's really underground. You've probably never heard of it.
Yo.
Well done.
Hero point.
We haven't
was
even
good.
started yet. I am also much less likely to give people hero points if they ask for them out of spite, so just keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
It's going up and then bam.
Take my hero point
No,
away.
it's just gonna be my punchline for all my jokes. It's just
Fair point.
hero point.
If somebody has a statistical analysis at the end of it, it'll be very obvious that Emily Grace has been underfunded on hero points because of this. You all have been attempting to make headway deeper into the catacombs to find and eliminate a murder cult dedicated to the Skin Saw, an aspect of Norgorber, which is particularly dedicated to the wanton and brutal murder of innocents. So, that's a thing. You all make your way down
Relatable
there. You
concept.
fight some animated statues. You realize this is kind of crazy. As you're looking for Bastro, you find Bastro. You find the crazy seer who flesh warped Bastro. You get rid of him. You go down through the back of his laboratory into a different part of the catacombs. Fight some skeletons. Find a ghost of a little elven girl named Delia, who appears to be tied to a fountain their father dedicated in honor of her memory and placed in the crypts. The fountain itself being damaged, and her spirit is now tied to the fountain, and she doesn't realize that she's even a ghost. She thinks she's just lost in Absalom. You continue as you are now making your way through the caverns that are kind of under but also intersecting with the various caved-in portions of this ancient catacomb. You continue through the tunnel where there's a river of sewage that has currently made its way into and under the crypts, and you find a pile of refuse, which happens to be animated by some strange, horrific zombie abomination of a creature, which is a mixture
Abomination, if you will.
yes, absolutely. Which appears to be a
0
mixture
points.
of, it was this close, but then you had to say something, Ben. It was a mixture of, like, refuse, debris, organic matter, and it was undead. To top it all off, you noticed, like, bits of skeletal pieces and, like, dead arms and legs hanging off in weird angles. It was a nightmare. It was a mess. But you defeat it. Twinkletoes takes a little expedition back up to the top layer of the catacombs at the bridge that overhangs where you fight it, and that's where you all find yourself at in the moment. But before we come back to that moment, I'd like to bring you all to a different moment.
A different moment.
The screen does that little shimmer shake as it pans to a different scene. We see a little scroll text at the bottom. 65 days since banishment. As we come up on a jungle, we see the form of Kashak as he makes his way through the Mwangi expanse. High along the trees, in the canopies, climbing from tree to tree. He's been able to subsist well enough on his own, being an experienced hunter and tracker, but he needs to find somewhere protected, somewhere with food supplies and walls. He's been searching for Jaha, a small place where he'd heard rumors of Aruxi, his kinsman, living in harmony with humans, charting the stars and building a community within the harsh and dangerous environments of the Mwangi Expanse. The air around the trees grows thick with morning mist as he begins once more in his journey. Dew from the rain last night turns quickly into fog as the heat of the day settles in. At last, in the distance, Kashak's keen eyes spot a tall structure with a rounded top, perhaps 3 to 4 floors, a small half-oval door in the front. He thinks to himself that this must be an observatory, a place where his people observe the heavens. Kashak climbs down from the trees, always checking his surroundings for danger, and when none is found, he enters the clearing that surrounds this ruined building. Its exterior is ornately decorated, with constellations and celestial bodies intermingled with vines and branches. But as Kashak approaches, the front door opens. Kashak draws his bow, knocks an arrow, but in the doorway, he spots a pale purple face, and it looks slightly scaled. The creature calls out to him, "Traveler, I mean you no harm. I am the sole denizen of this tower. Give me your name, and I shall give you mine."
I am Kashak, the Black Scale. I seek the city of Jaha, as I have been on the road for many days and have heard rumor that Iruxi now settle there. Have I found its outskirts?
The creature seems to chuckle slightly. "City is a bit ambitious, but yes, you are close. May I come out and parley with you without taking an arrow?"
Yes. Forgive me.
Kashak sheepishly lowers his bow. "Be not afraid of me, Kashak Black Scale. I have been cursed to my current form by an evil witch. But as I have said, I mean you no harm." The purple-scaled face moves forward to leave the door, and the body that follows it is that of a great snake, the color of a deep night sky. Kashak has no idea that he's in communication with a dark naga, a dangerous, evil creature with an affinity for mind reading. And if Kashak could see through its lies better, he would know that this creature has yet to be truthful at all. The naga coils itself and settles into the earth. "Come, Iruxi. Tell me of your travels. Where do you come from?" Kashak feels a strong conflict about telling this creature anything at all. It feels dangerous to him. But what allies can Kashak rely on? He can't afford to give up an opportunity for guidance or assistance. This part of the world is too dangerous and foreign for him to continue to navigate alone. He needs someone to help him. So he tells the naga everything. But the naga probes even further, feeling inside his mind for thoughts. Although it picks up only vague surface feelings, the naga learns more than even Kashak tells. Hours go by, Kashak spilling his heart and soul to the naga, who continues patiently observing, listening with all its senses. The naga speaks at last. "You have been through a great ordeal, Kashak. Your whole life was set around your tribe, your village, your people. You protected them, fed them with the spoils of your hunt. And how do they repay you? Exile, banishment from anything you've ever come to know or understand."
It wasn't my kin that banished me. My actions deserved punishment, and I should be held accountable for abandoning my post.
"Kashak, I don't think even you believe that. But you've made an astute point. It wasn't your kin that banished you. Those captains that were killing the raptors and disobeying your orders. Do you know what they are? Monsters. It seems as though monsters have continually surrounded you. They have infiltrated your movements, poisoned your future, and stood in the way of fulfillment. Where monsters arise, you will fail. Kashak's left hand idly reached up to touch the scale on his armor and thought about the betrayal he had felt when he received it. He thought about the fear he felt leaving his family, the loneliness he's felt in the jungle. But above all, he thought about his determination for a return to his community. or at least in the meantime, finding a new one. The Naga continued. I have a recommendation for you. Unsolicited advice, if you don't mind. The community of Jaha. It is full of people like those who tricked you. False friends, liars, hypocrites. They are not the ones you should put your faith in. But there is a place far to the east that I have heard is more honest, truthful, utopia. One that will reward and award your honor and appreciate the duty you hold yourself accountable to. Katapesh, the golden city of trade, full of opportunity and wonders that you have never experienced. I assure you that you will find your new brothers or sisters there in the metropolis on the shores of the Obari Ocean. Besides, would you even want to show your face around Uruxi again? After this? The Naga places the tip of its tail onto the black dragon scale. And again, it could feel the pain in Kashak's memory of his disgrace. From this memory, we see Kashak in very different armor, with the same scale adorned to its front. Through his eyes, we see the monster of refuse fall to the dirt, and in the twilight of battle, Oski's tattoo face is lit from above by Twinkletoes' torch. Kashak can see the tattoos and remember what they do to the orc he calls a friend, and he sees the hunger in the hulking champion's eyes. Just behind him, Bastro's flesh-warped figure can be seen underneath the bridge, fibrous antenna flowing around dozens, thousands of eyes. The voice of the Naga rings in the back of Kashak's mind. Do you know what they are? Monsters. Where monsters arise, you will fail. Hero points to our friend
Yo,
Jack
that
Tarbo
was cool.
Oh,
That was
lit.
cool. Yeah,
for a fantastic
that was
bit
cool.
of writing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Normally I do a little bit of proofreading and editing, but I didn't change anything on that one because I thought it was very appropriate and very well done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I'm lazy. We come back, as previously mentioned, to the catacombs, or at least the caverns below them. I'm going to throw you all on the map. Right about meow.
Catacombs. Meow.
The catacombs. Right about meow. Here we are, settled in to the layer below. Twinkletoes actually up top, as mentioned, with the torch, overseeing the cave-in on either side. But Kashak, Oski, and Bastro are down below as the thud of this large creature collapsing into a pile echoes across the cavern walls around you. What would you all like to do?
Search the creature.
Search the creature. Okay. You can give me a perception, and if anyone wants to try to recall knowledge on this thing, as nobody has yet to identify it, you may feel free to do so now with either
Like to.
a religion or an occult, if you have it.
Okay.
This is one of those funny things about playing this game. Like,
Nope.
I'm always wondering in scenarios like this, how actually like freaked out are we by this thing? You know, based on everything we've seen.
Yeah.
You know, how outside the norm was this encounter?
Sure.
That's
You want
it's
us
always
to
like
be
a-
on the
it's a-
green.
Well,
Yeah.
that's obviously a different scenario, but like it's something I always wonder in these fantasy worlds, right? Like
Mhm.
where so much magic and crazy stuff happens.
Mhm.
How weird actually was what we just experienced?
I
Yeah,
think
because like it's got to be based on your own experience as a person, right? Like, have you seen something like this? Do you know this thing exists, or like how different is this from what you fought before? Like, we fought hulking vine creatures, we just like avoided a bunch of them. So like, was this that much different, or like, what is it made of? It's like all kind of
if I had to
Character by character.
choose,
How hard do you think about it? Like, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah, truthfully, yeah.
I mean, I've always felt like since we're seasoned adventurers at this point, we've been conditioned to kind of not think about it in the moment. And then, like, once
Yeah.
we're out of the crypt, like maybe like a few days later, if we're safe and not dead, that's when we like reflect. Like right now, Bastro.
We have our panic attacks then.
Yeah, right now Bastro is trying to keep the fact that he is not himself anymore in the back of his head. He's just trying
Yeah.
to move forward and not hamper the party's progression. So.
Yeah, in the same kind of breath, you know, Refuse Monster, probably pretty average, run-of-the-mill stuff, like just a bunch of trash that came to life. Like the Doulahan and the Nightmare, maybe a bit more existentially terrifying. Like this like really famous knight came back without his head from like on death, and now he just hurls great swords at people. Like, is that
That's
He's
more?
on fire.
He's also fire. Like, how did I forget? Like like that kind of stuff. It's like, what is it? Like, what are you actually looking at? And like, certainly as you know, the adventure progresses, we're fighting things that are of equal strength to us, or
Yeah.
somewhat, you know, requisite strength to us. So it's going to continue to be that fear of like, yeah, sometimes the creature is going to be like something that is trying to steal your soul from your face, and it's like, okay, that's horrifying. So
yeah, and Jack, I think you hit on a pretty good point because these creatures are meant to evoke some kind of emotion, and depending on what that emotion is, your characters each have a different experience with
yeah,
that emotion and things that evoke that emotion. I think the biggest thing about this creature is that it's meant to evoke like disgust, right? It is literally undead shit that has come
Yeah.
to life.
Yeah. literal pile of
It is
garbage.
awful, disease-ridden, bug-ridden. It is
This
disgusting.
is how I feel sometimes on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
depending
Emily
on
Grayson on a
your
tough Monday morning.
character's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
resilience towards or susceptibility to that emotion, you would have a different experience. But let's get some skill checks
30
Yeah.
20 for that perception, by the way.
for the perception.
It's a 26 for Kashax on the searching the body. He's going to have to go get his arrows anyway, so he walks up, and I think he's a bit touchy walking around Oski, having like had this sort of flashback and this memory, having seen the faces of these two guys. He's kind of like slinking around you maybe a bit more than he usually does, or even maybe like kind of running along the wall, and he just like doesn't really look at Bastard. He just looks straight down at the body and is picking up arrows and like searching through some of the garbage and very quiet and determined. Which is very different from Kashak normally, of course. He's definitely never been quiet or determined before.
Kashak and Bastro, you guys are looking through, and this creature is clearly like there is a creature there that has like absorbed this debris, so like rotten wood, crumbling remains. You see like a sword that has been rusted, almost eaten through. It's just acquired stuff, and on top of that, like it was a creature that was alive that did this. It had died, and because of whatever is going on around here, been reanimated as an undead creature. But as you're like picking through, and maybe Kashak, as you're pulling arrows out, you do find a few things that are scattered, a few items that are scattered within the remains of this creature. You find 2 scroll cases and a small wooden box. Kashak, on top of that, off to the side here, in kind of this cavern that extends beyond. On the other side of the river, you see what appears to be like, well, it's like a pit, like a square pit that has been dug into the ground. So you can't really see into it, but you can see that there is just
Well,
like
there is a hole.
drop
Yeah.
off into a hole over there.
Um,
So 2 scroll cases and a wooden box. You can go ahead and roll a crafting on the box and a divine or arcana or religion for the identify, if you want to take the time to do that.
Twinkletoes, could I see a torch, please? Could you drop one down? There seems to be a hole across the river here, and I want to inspect.
Didn't you take that night vision, Alexa? Can you?
And he sees that he's looking at Twinkletoes, and then he looks over there, and it's black and gray over there, and he's like,
Oh, sorry. Still not used to this whole thing.
Got you, buddy.
so he's gonna calamity climb across the river and go over to here with his newfangled dark vision he's got for like 9 more minutes.
Sure.
I still go over and hold the torch out and help her. Like anyway, just
Twinkletoes.
try to be a little chandelier.
I think her and Bastra are on the same square, maybe.
Oh yeah, we're on the same
Oh,
side.
Are we?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you say over there, but where is over there?
I'm above.
Yeah,
I'm above
you know,
that.
Yeah, they're on different levels.
Oh, you. Well done. Well done.
What?
I'm
How
glad
did
you
we
both
do that?
moved into the same square and then realized you moved in the same square and both moved into another square together at the
I
same
thought
time.
there was like a glitch where I was dragging her piece behind me. I was like, what?
Oh, sorry. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry.
It's when you're trying to pass somebody and you both like step to
suddenly
the same
dancing.
side like
Yeah.
3 times in a row.
Only I'm like 40 feet above him, so it's
Yeah.
like.
I
Kashak,
rolled.
you look down to find what appears to be, it is a 10-foot square that is dug 15 feet down.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
It is a mass grave.
Oh, God.
It is just piles and piles of bodies in various stages of decay. None of them look to be particularly fresh. So, if you want to roll a survival or a medicine,
I'd love to roll survival.
We
And-
should probably burn those.
22 on the survival.
22 on the survival. None
Yeah.
of them look particularly fresh. None of them seem like they have perished recently. The problem being that many of them look to be munched on, potentially by this creature.
Is that a technical term?
Munched on, yes.
Yeah.
There is specifically 4 munches taken out
Per
of
person.
various bodies.
Yeah.
So whatever this
There were
thing was,
crunches.
it was
A people eater.
taking a bite.
Anything, do they have like objects or items, or is it just naked bodies?
You can roll another perception for me.
Would love to. Ick. 19.
It's hard to tell. You don't really see anything. Most of what looks to be down here is just like skeletons or mostly rotten bodies. None of them seem to be really wearing too much. So you think that before they were put in here, perhaps their belongings were... Ooh, accidentally changed scenes. Perhaps their belongings were removed from them, put somewhere else prior to being put in here.
This is the way that the people in the cloaks were dragging their friends, right?
Yeah, it was,
According
it was
to
north.
Delia, yes.
Right. That's Kashak's theory, is that this is where they were putting, like, they said that they were carrying one of them who didn't look too good. And so I think that they were, if they were doing this repeatedly, this is where they were, like, dumping people who were sacrificed or their, whatever. The bodies still have skin on them. Have they been, like, removed? Or, like, has the skin been...
Nothing
Amber
looks
meat.
like it's been placed here. Like, none of the bodies look like they are within even a month dead. Like, they're all far
Oh, okay.
gone. Yeah.
I still think we gotta burn these.
Yeah, no.
Undead nonsense. We don't want to risk it.
From my survival, they don't look like they've already been burned.
No.
Okay.
Twinkle Toes, I changed my mind again. I think I might need that torch after all, but for perhaps a different reason.
He'll walk over again.
Can you not
There.
climb up here and I pass it to you? I don't.
Yeah, he climbs it the whole
Throw it
way.
in.
Throw it across the river.
down.
There's a mass grave over there in that pit. Seems
Gross,
like
burn it.
seems like this creature was feasting on bodies or some people. I don't know who they were, but they're gonna get burned.
Glad it wasn't us.
And he'll try to be as systematic as possible. I don't know if he has like oil or anything. Actually, wait, he might. Oh, I don't have oil. That sucks. I'll try to just
Let me
burn
see
them
if
as
I
best
do.
as possible.
It.
No.
You're gonna have to.
Oh, I have oil of potency with that.
Yeah, use that.
Yikes.
You'd have to
Wow.
like climb down in there.
Oh, he will. That's fine. Yeah. Like 5 feet into the wall and then like lean
Yeah.
down off the wall. Yeah.
You don't have your like standard adventurers kit that comes with I think 5 torches,
I mean, that's torches, not oil.
but like torches that you can light.
You want me to use all 5 of my adventurer's torches?
I'm willing to bet you forgot you had them until just now.
I just looked in my adventurer's pack for oil, and there was none in there.
Bastards gonna
But you do
call
have
across,
chalk in there.
across the lake
chalk.
/ debris
Sure.
sludge, and he's gonna say to Kashaka, "What do you need the torch for if you can see in the dark?"
And he was talking to Twinkletoes, and his feet are attached to the wall, and he's gonna just full 180 on the wall and be hanging upside down from the same point in the wall, and say the same thing to Bastra.
There's a mass grave. I gotta deal with it.
Give me 1 second. Let me look at these scrolls for a minute, and then I can go over there and take care of this mass grave. We won't have to use our resources.
You're thinking it's a scroll of bury mass grave even farther in the dirt.
No, I think this will suffice, and his right arm will like light up with fire for a few seconds and then go out real quick.
Oh, yeah. Kind of forgot. That's your thing now.
Yes, don't worry, pal.
Yeah, he can.
We're all
do
trying to get used to it. And Bastra will first he'll cast his healing spell on himself, and while he's identifying these scrolls, he wants to refocus.
Okay.
So just a heads up. But I'm back at full health. That's awesome.
Sure.
I'm going to roll Arcana.
And then while Dan's doing that, Oski just collapses after this fight and is also going to spend the next 10 minutes refocusing. But he's like collapsed on the ground, refocusing.
Okay.
I got 27.
I'm gonna. What are you rolling?
Arcana.
Arcana.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your magical tradition?
Arcana and divination.
Arcane. Yeah.
Okay.
I have both. So
Divination or divine?
divine, whatever the divine. Yeah, that's what I meant. For my witch archetype.
You gotta be different.
So you spend the time for the first scroll. It is a scroll of fly.
Neat.
That's cool.
The second one is going to require a religion roll.
I'll do that. I have 2 focus points to refocus. It's a 10-minute activity, right? To identify
Correct.
self.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll spend the other 10 minutes refocusing.
During that
before.
time, Oski can roll a crafting check if you want on the box.
Can I do that while refocusing?
No, but he's taking 20 minutes, so if you want to do one, then the other.
Okay. And then also separately, I rolled a 26 religion, you said, to identify the creature.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That, we can do that after if you want.
That's not a 10-minute activity though. That's just like a
Right. Okay. So I'll do crafting also.
roll the crafting as well, but as for the creature, This creature is a little weird, because you are able to tell
Okay.
that it is a zombified version. What was your total?
26.
26. 26. Okay. So, sure, okay. I know how we can do this. That will reduce the DC of an occultism, if anybody wants to roll that. But you realize that it is a...
I mean, I can also do that.
Sure, go ahead. Roll an occultism for me as well.
Oh, the roll is significantly worse. It's a 16 total.
16. Yeah, that's not going to do it. You realize that it is a zombified version of a creature known as an Ofalth. But you don't... Ofalth. Ofalth. So an Ofalth that died and then was somehow reanimated. You don't know much about Ofalths. That's what the occultism is for.
Except they just love picking up trash.
It appears to be a creature that kind of absorbs filth, detritus, debris into itself as part of its organism.
Old jam, yeah.
But
And it does that in life, like it's a living creature that
does that in
this
life.
normally. Yeah.
Yes. But on top of that, it was raised as a zombie version of that creature, which means that it then started to incorporate pieces from the mass grave into itself.
Really creative use of that creature.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Does anyone else want to roll an occultism on that? And give you a little
Don't
more,
have it.
potentially.
Don't have it.
Bastra,
I could roll it untrained.
Yeah, I'll roll
you
it.
certainly
I,
can roll it untrained
I got a 13 on that religion check for the second scroll case, by the way.
for the second scroll
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
But you do have religion as a
yeah.
like, as one of your traditions.
His witch archetype is giving him like divine
Okay.
Yeah.
casting stuff.
Well, that is good because it is actually a common spell from that tradition. So you
Oh,
just
hell
have to
yeah.
spend the time.
And can't you identify magic even with you, like if you're trained in the skill, even if you don't cast spells? Isn't that a thing?
If you can cast spells and it is a common spell from that tradition, you just have to spend the time. If it is not a common spell or you can't cast spells from that tradition, but you are trained in that skill, you have to roll over a certain number.
Oh, it's harder. Gotcha.
Yeah. But in this case, it is a scroll of Holy Cascade.
Oh!
That sounds lit.
fun.
So, Holy Cascade. You call upon sacred energy to amplify a vial of holy water, tossing it at an incredible distance. It
500 feet!
It explodes in an
God.
enormous burst that deals 3d6 bludgeoning damage to creatures in the area from the cascade of water. The water deals an additional 6d6 positive damage to undead and 6d6 good damage to fiends. The range is 500 feet, and it is a 20-foot burst.
Yo.
That's wild.
It is a level 4 divine spell.
Is
Yeah.
that
You did-
something that you can eat? Or that you can have Peter eat?
Can you learn that spell?
No.
Yeah.
No, I cannot.
He don't do that no more.
really?
I don't think Peter eats
Peter-
things anymore.
Peter can't is not that powerful anymore,
He's
unfortunately.
not
Peter's
that
a-
bird.
He's a vegetarian these days. He only eats worms,
Yeah.
not scrolls. Yeah.
But it is a really sick spell.
You call upon magical energy to throw that thing a football field and 2/3. By the
Wild.
166 yards.
Wow.
Not only that, it's 3d6 bludgeoning to everything, or 66 to undead or fiends. In a
Wow.
20-foot burst.
And
It adds the 66 to the 3d6.
Oh, yeah, it's an
36
additional,
bludgeoning,
excuse me, it's an
66.
additional.
9d6 to undead.
Yeah, so it's 9d6 to undead or to
Undead and
fiends.
fiends.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have a vial of holy water?
They're very
Yeah,
easy to
I
come
do.
across, actually.
I
Very
do.
easy to get.
Oh, you do? Oh, even
I do
better.
have holy water.
Bath?
What an amazing comedic spell.
Oski, what's the
That's funny.
roll in the
Ever.
crafting check there?
21.
21.
I thought I had holy water. I don't have holy water.
It's very easy to buy. You just go to any church. You're just like here. Yeah.
You realize that this. Wait, what's the total?
21.
21? Yeah, sure, why not? It is a bomb snare. A bomb snare.
Bomb scenario.
It is a snare, a trap that you can set. If it goes off, all creatures in that square and any adjacent square must roll a reflex save or deal damage equal to 3 times the direct hit damage from the component bombs, which I'll get to in a second. So it essentially puts 3 alchemical bombs together into a snare of the same type, and then it does, all of those bombs damage at the same time in a burst around it, without the splash, but you're already getting the splash from the snare. It is 3 alchemical moderate alchemist fires, which are
moderate.
Wait, like inside of the snare?
yes.
Yeah, that's wild.
Where's moderate?
Do we have to like take this apart to get those, or no?
No, the snare
No,
is
we can use the
those
snare.
3 alchemist fires in a bomb.
Like-
in a
Oh, in
snare.
a bomb. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess my question is like, do we have to like dismantle it, or is it we can just take them out?
No,
with
you just
problem?
set it.
No.
And
we
if a
can
creature
use
sets
the
it
bomb.
off-
it's just something we have to put out.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
we
saying
have a
that,
bomb
like,
now.
if we needed them, could we take them out?
You
for,
could
like, throwing
disassemble
other
the
reasons?
snare if you wanted to, but that would
Right.
take some time.
Okay.
Moderate alchemist fire is 2d8.
2d8.
So this
So this deals 68 damage.
68 to anything in the square or adjacent squares
Whoa.
if it's set off.
If we can find the right use, that's awesome.
That includes the persistent fire damage, but not the splash damage. So.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, the persistent is not cumulative, so it's still only 2 persistent fire damage, not 6. But the initial bomb damage is 2d8 fire or 6d8 fire damage plus 2 persistent fire damage to anything in that square or around that square.
You know what would do a great job of burning this mass grave is 2, perhaps 3 moderate alchemist fires in a bomb snare.
I don't want to waste this awesome item on that. Are you
Oh.
kidding?
Yeah. No, I think we
You
should.
know what
It's,
else would be really good?
Light with
A,
fire.
a burning hands.
Yeah, a cantrip.
It is
that
a 75 gold snare, so if you want to throw
Yeah,
away 75
just-
gold, go
You
for it.
just,
I mean,
you just produce flame like 8 times.
Literally throw 75 gold in the hole. Kishak would like that item, but we can perhaps talk about it.
Oski's the one who currently has it, but I don't need it. So at some point
And-
we can.
That sounds like something that Kashak or I could use.
Oski, what are the odds you strap it to the outside of your shield and then slam it into somebody?
That'd be pretty badass, but other than that, Oski has no use for it. He is not stealthy
I'm just saying.
or dexterous to set it.
I'm just saying.
Well, it requires some planning to use. That's kind of our whole jam, me and Twinkle Toes.
I was gonna say, it seems like you all have been much more careful. I would say almost uncharacteristically careful in this dungeon, which is really interesting to see. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a very interesting change in tact.
It's the Doulahan. I'll be very frank.
Houlihan.
Jack is reading 1E into 2E with the Doulahan.
I was gonna say he seems very scarred by this creature that you have only very
I
briefly
said it
fought.
once. I will say it again. It threw a great sword through a door right next to his head. He's
Bastard sword.
freaking out. It threw a huge 5-handed greatsword through an entire door.
I will also say you only encountered it at 3/4 strength at the end of a fight that you guys were having trouble with because again you started it at 3/4 strength. So
Yeah, I mean, it's also like a legendary knight of a very
Yeah.
powerful deity. So like it's definitely on his mind that like this thing is serious. And I don't
but what
wanna-
if you run it back?
It's definitely serious.
What if you run it back?
Definitely serious.
What are
okay,
we doing,
so
guys?
Kashak's gonna kick it back over to Bastro and the team and say,
Yeah, I think that perhaps a couple of spells might be able to deal with that body over there. And then, they'll just go over to Oski and be like, "Hey, what you got? What's in the box?"
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Great movie.
Yeah, and Oski is like on the ground, like uncharacteristically slumped. He's on one knee. Looks like he was just praying, but he hasn't like gotten out of the stance he's usually, or like the setup he's usually in for praying. So he's like slumped over on one knee, and he holds it up and says, "This was in the creature. It's a bomb snare of sorts. Be careful with it, but I suspect you would make better use of it than I." And he'll hand it over.
A snare, so useful for trapping, setting in doorways.
What's the activation? I guess I can read on this item, but
Yes, I think that is best in perhaps my hands or Twinkle Toes. Thank you.
The activation.
sorry,
is-
like a tripwire.
It has a stealth value, and it is in a square for this one. So you put it in a square. If something enters that square, then it sets it off. If they don't hit the perception to see the stealth value. In this case, it's got a stealth value of 26.
Pretty solid.
So it is unnoticed if the creature doesn't hit a 26 perception. If something steps onto it, then anything, obviously the creature that steps into it, and any creatures in the adjacent squares will take damage from it.
Shock, when you come over and like briefly talk to Oski, you see that the tattoos on Oski's head, and I think especially you notice this, the tattoos on the sides of Oski's head are bigger than they have been. They appear larger, you notice very clearly they like cover more surface area on Oski's bald head than they have prior.
You're kneeling, right? You're like kneeling on your shield.
Yeah, he is like definitely shorter than you. He's on one knee, sort of slumped over,
And
Kashak
using his shield to support him.
Kashak will kneel down with you and start really inspecting the tattoos. They move constantly, right? Do they just sort of like flicker and move?
Not constantly, actually, but they are currently moving. But they don't constantly move. The only times you have seen them move actively are when he is about to turn into the tendril monster.
When he activates them, yeah.
Or since you're noticing now that they are moving, which is unusual.
Oski, can you hear me? Are you all right?
And he looks up and says, "Yes, I can hear you. I have been better, but and his voice sort of trails off. And you see that like his pack is open, and he is staring at empty rations, like wrappers, essentially, because he'd already like hours ago ate all of his rations. And you all saw him do it. Like you saw him devour all of his like a week's worth of rations in like 20 minutes. And he's just staring at them now in his backpack.
Oski, look me in my eyes. Look at me.
He's staring. He's looking into your eyes he knows what like wild animals look like when they're starving, right? Like he knows what creatures look like when they're hungry, and he's looking for that same kind of wildness or fear or anxiety that goes from not having eaten. Do you think he sees anything close to that?
Am I allowed to ask you to roll a survival?
Yeah, dog. Happily. I love player force rolls. That's a 19.
There's definitely some of it. It doesn't appear... It appears more... Like, fear is definitely present, but it's not desperate, if that makes sense. If that, like, distinction makes sense. So
You're
there's
not
definitely fear.
dying.
There's no fear. There is fear, but no desperation.
Kashak will reach into his pack that he just previously checked for oil and happened to find 5 torches, and he will go in and take out maybe like a half meal of rations, like something wrapped up in like some bread or something, and he'll kind of sheepishly hand it to Oski.
Oh, and it like you maybe hand it and or maybe like drop it into like his hand, and before it even like leaves your hand, he's devoured the whole thing. Like within seconds, he's like animalistically eating all of it, and it's gone, and he's still sort of slumped over.
Gashak has to like count his fingers to make sure.
Yeah, I think he is like pulling it away quickly. Like he's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, like this is dangerous.
And Oski tries to like lumber up and stand up. He's like, nothing. It won't cease. It won't stop. It won't. And as he's sort of like muttering to himself, the tattoos are moving more. It won't stop. It won't leave my mind.
Oski,
We must.
can you feel those moving on your face?
There's nothing moving on my face. I'm fine. This is a test. I can do this.
Sense motive. 21.
What's your
That's a.
Deception.
Isn't that against will DC?
Right, deception.
Or deception DC? What is sense motive
I
against?
believe
Deception
it is
DC.
against.
It
yeah,
is
your
deception DC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that
I mean,
crushes it.
Yeah.
That crushes it. Yeah, he's clearly trying to save face here. He absolutely knows they're moving on his face.
Is he okay?
I
Does
mean,
Kashak believe that Oski thinks he's okay?
Oski knows he's not okay. You get that impression, but he's trying to like soldier on.
Kashak's like kind of darting his eyes back and forth, doing some mental, calculations with his 8 intelligence, and yeah.
Oski's trying to find anything to distract this situation. He goes, "This creature was known as a Olfalth. Olfalth. Am I saying that right, Will?
Ophalth.
Olfalth.
Ofalth.
Olfalth. Some sort of zombified version of
If
one."
I may interject real quick, Twinkletoes, what are you doing during all of this?
I am at first like holding the torch out up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then after I pass the one down to Kashak, I think I'm just gonna like slowly start coming over here. I want to check out this door.
Okay.
Not go through it, just like perception check it.
You don't even need to perception check it. You see that this door has been broken into at a certain point, because you can tell it is a stone door with large chunks missing out of it, and behind it you can see there's some kind of barricade. Like you see like a chairs, a desk, various things that have been piled up on the other side of this broken door to block passage. You just see that, right? You also hear Kashak and Oski talking below you. And then you, Bastro, please correct me if I'm wrong, you begin to see the flashes of orange as Bastro begins to light up the grave.
Correct. I'll be right over here.
I'm gonna wander over here and see what I can see across over.
Yeah. You look down below you. You see, again, 40 feet down, a widening of this river. Let me reveal a little bit more to the right here for you as well. One sec. Oh, that's not how that works. Jack, don't you love polygon reveals?
Love them.
The joys of polygon reveal.
Roll20 is a fantastic program.
I actually really do unironically like Roll20.
It's really well made. Everything, all the tools work just the way you want them to.
There we go.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you have another torch, right? Because you don't have dark vision?
Correct.
Let me just make sure that was the right distance for you. Snap
20
a
feet
corner.
then.
You have 20 feet of dim or bright light, then
bright light,
additional.
and then 20 more of
Yeah,
dim
so
light.
you get a little bit more, but mostly, this is what most. Ooh, this is the corner. That's interesting. What can you see over here? Yeah, you can kind of see there. Okay, making me do all the difficult polygon reveals. I see how it is. Yeah, that looks about right. So you see out like that in that little hallway there. And again, it's like where you're standing used to be connected to that little hallway that you can see, but everything has like caved in and collapsed in to the hole down below you. You also see a little bit into here, like so. This is all you see there. At your level, this is a wall, but you can see that it clearly juts out, and there's like a little overhang above it in the below section. You can't see where I'm pinging because I was on the wrong level. Right here, that is a wall on your level, but below it, there's like a little bit, under there's like an overhang. This is about where you see out to it, and then at this little, you can tell there's like a little cavern entrance right there, and then you see a little bit more of just the river extending out to the right there. That's about what you get there.
Is there anything up on this ledge that I could tie a rope off to, hypothetically?
Where you're currently standing?
Like, on this ledge, like, anywhere?
No, it's literally as if there was nothing but flat floor here, and it is collapsed in, so there's nothing to tie onto.
Is there anything, like, in this vicinity anywhere that I could tie a rope
If you have an adventurer's pack, you should have pitons, which are climbing materials you could potentially hammer into a wall if it's like stone or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hammer a piton into the wall and tie a rope to that, you can do so.
I'll hold off on doing that.
I'm curious. I just want to hear your thinking of what you would want to do with that rope.
I was thinking of jumping over to this side.
But the door is closed, but has recently been opened or broken.
No, so this one over here is
Yeah.
broken and barricaded on the far side, but
Okay.
this over here is open. It
It's
looks
open.
Like this
Yeah.
collapsed.
Yeah, like your section and that section was once connected as
Yeah.
one, but then that fell in. Yeah.
So
Just jump it.
It says 15 feet. That's not accurate according to the book. The map is a little off, unfortunately. It's a 20-foot jump from.
Oh, okay.
Just to make that clear, from this corner to the next one over is a 20-foot jump, which you can try a long jump at some point if you want to do that, with a distance of 20 feet.
You would also know that Kashak could probably climb the wall with the rope, and then you could
certainly could climb the wall with the rope.
swing down into
Yeah.
it, but whatever you're feeling.
So, I am going to hold off for now, and just gonna like climb over here and sit up top and wait for my boys.
And you hear the conversation between Kashak and Oski as Oski begins talking about the Ophalth. He says, this is an Ophalth, a zombified Ophalth.
And you hear Kashak kind of playing into his desire to talk about something else, and Kashak is like,
Yes, an Ophalth. Why don't you tell me all about what they were meant to do and what it was going to do to us if it caught it?
and he's trying to assess Oski's mental acuity and like see where he is when he's like getting him to talk about something that's like more in his wheelhouse.
Twinkletoes, did you want to roll an occult untrained on this thing?
I did.
was
I
your
rolled a 17.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, you don't know anything more about the Ophalths. but always worth trying with, is it Jack of all trades still? Or what is it?
Untrained improvisation.
Untrained improvisation. Oh, Jack of all trades is Bard. Never mind.
Bard.
Still such a useful ability.
It's amazing
Yeah.
feat, general feat. It's so good.
Okay.
Especially at 7th level.
Bastro, you send a few bolts of fire down into the area. There's not much, again, because a lot of their clothing, their equipment, their gear has been removed from them, but what flesh there is after a few bolts of fire begins to smolder. It's not like a blaze, per se, but you start to get like a low, slow burn as everything just begins to heat up, and it just turns into a pile of embers. And you see that the heat and the flame is spreading, but there's no like fire, like a bonfire or anything, just because nothing is really there that is like burning out like that. And you feel like it's at this point good. You can walk over as Kashak and Oski are having this awkward conversation because neither of them really know what Othalfs do. They just know that this was a zombie. And you see Twinkletoes sitting, twiddling her thumbs up 40 feet up this pile of rubble. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, I think Oski, he's responding to Kashak's question about, like, oh yeah, what do you know about Othalfs? And Oski just goes, oh, I don't know too much, but I'm glad we dispatched him. How are you? And Oski will, like, put a hand out on Kashak's shoulder, like, trying to seem very, like, familial and cordial, and like nothing's really wrong. Just be like, how are you? Are you all right?
Ishak would start to kind of recoil a little bit out of fear, but he feels maybe a little extra weight on his shoulder from Oski's arm, maybe like looking for physical support as much as emotional.
That also, yeah.
And he's like, oh, maybe he needs me to like kind of lean into this. And he's a little uncomfortable, but he's,
I'm fine. I was able to stay away from the creature. We continually come into this place unprepared, and I'm curious if perhaps we could come back when we're a bit more physically fit or geared up. I know there's a lot of things, and he kind of jingles the bag of holding, which doesn't make noise, but just like shakes the bag of holding. I know there's at least a few short swords in here. I just looked.
Lads, I wasn't gonna say it, but I could really use a good night's sleep. Like, and
Oski turns around and for the first time looks up at Twinkletoes.
and like, I don't know, maybe Bastro's friend Johnny JGF could help Oski out with whatever's going on with him.
Something wrong with Oski?
Oh yeah, we got cursed by that dude that did that to you. And
Bastro, you
we
were
are
literally
not-
there when it happened.
We are not feeling good.
Yeah, cursed big time, bro. I'm mega cursed.
Both of them are 100% certified cursed. It's just
Yeah.
Oski's lasts a week versus Twinkletoes for a day.
I wouldn't
Oski and
be opposed-
Twinkletoes,
My like roots
cursed.
are grown in like a little gray. Like you see.
I would not be opposed to going back up and getting a little bit more prepared for this dungeon. Or crypt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oski, would you like that? Would you feel okay with departing for now and coming back at a later date?
I will follow the will of the group.
Maybe we can also get Reginald set up for my safe house. He could be like my supercomputer or something. That'd be
Yo,
fun.
wait, that's sick. Wait, I actually love that. That's so cool.
He's my own personal Jeeves.
He can't see things, so I don't know how he's rolling checks.
Yeah, I mean, the usefulness
He
of the brain
can
is the
see.
jar.
It just needs to be right in front of him.
Not having him
It's
with
a cool
you means
idea,
you have to go back
nonetheless.
and explain things to him if you wanted to check.
I mean, we should bring him with us, I think. But it's
Speaking
still
of
for him
which,
to be like a
uh,
supercomputer.
I
Does
just
anyone
want
wanna-
him to have like a mount back at home, like that he like.
Yeah, you can just get him set up.
Kashak, would you
Yeah.
like to point Reginald at
Yes.
the Othalf?
Sure, why not? Since we all failed.
This is why he's in the group now.
He'll go fishing for Ofalf Master Reginald Fenn, whatever his name is.
He gets a 29 on his occult.
Nice.
Hey!
And is the DC still lowered from my religion check, or
It
no?
is. Which
Nice.
means it's an additional 5, which means you get an additional piece of information for a total of 3 pieces of information that you all would like to know about Ophalts. So he will give you a bit of the quote-unquote flavor knowledge of them, and then you can ask 3 mechanical pieces of information. So,
What
says-
mechanical information we want to know is on a dead
hold on,
creature?
hold on.
Yeah.
Yes, this would appear to be a zombified version of an Ophalth creature, classically inhabiting the dung heaps of castles, city dumps, and sewers. They are, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they are cousins of the Shamblers. Often living in heaps of matter from an altogether more unpleasant source. These monsters can get up to 9 feet tall. This one appears to be a bit younger, on the younger side, though its zombification certainly added to its mass. Yes, they collect debris and filth and whatever disgusting detritus they can get their organic appendages upon, and subsume it into their own bodies. And what pieces of information would you like to know?
I don't know if this is necessarily mechanical, but and party, tell me if this is a dumb idea, but like
What caused it to zombify?
that's a good question. Actually, that's a better question than the one I was going to ask, I think.
Is that one of the questions you want to use? One of the pieces you want to use?
I think it's a fair.
Okay. Yes. It appears that it was bitten by another large creature. It has a number
Right.
of strange bruisings
There's always a bigger fish.
along. Well, I would say a comparably sized creature.
Maybe the like big mouth dudes.
Are a
that we
number
fought?
of large, if I had to guess, I would say tentacle bruisings
Yep.
along the various sides and flanks of
Yeah, I
this
think
creature
you're
as well.
right, EG.
I'm not.
Things to the southwest. Yeah, the things we walked past. How big is the actual creature we're talking about?
The creature itself is technically large. Like it's long, large, and like a little bit tall. Probably about
It's Chithra large. Yeah.
yeah. It's about like 10 feet long, probably 8 feet tall. So you can and Reginald said this, but like not a full grown Ophalth. But as mentioned, it not only had debris, it had added in Undeath, it had added undead parts to itself from the crypt. So that extended it, but not in the like traditional Ophalth body. That was the additional zombie pieces that were added to it.
So,
Yeah.
one thing I'm curious about is if this thing usually is in like castle, like waste management systems, essentially. Like, is this thing thousands of years old, or like where did it come from? If it didn't, I don't know. Like,
You're currently standing next to a river of sewage. Just to
It may have just washed down the river.
yeah, did it literally just wash down the drain then? Okay, I don't know what other questions mechanically we would care about at this point, but one thing I was wondering is just like why was it here? But I guess the sewage is the reason it's here. Yeah.
The undead parts that it's picked up, are we able to get any more detail about like whether those are other parts of the like just from
Pit bodies.
Sure.
Yeah. Can you get any more detail about the undead parts that it's picked up?
Yeah, this is not something that you still have 2 more mechanical pieces of information. This is something that you would be able to glean from Kashak's knowledge and checking. It was taking pieces from the mass grave that it was
Gotcha.
next to, and
Gotcha.
like it did in life with sewage and debris, it was doing in undeath with the corpses,
Gotcha.
adding pieces to itself.
I see.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and as far as Kashak could tell, they were all human corpses.
Okay.
You know, without.
And then what's
through.
its lowest save? No, I'm just kidding.
You
That's
still have
just
2 more
kidding, that's
mechanical
not
pieces of
real.
information if you want them. You don't have to. I mean, you could just leave.
I mean,
conversation.
I
Yeah, whatever. Run
I want to know how likely it is that there's another one nearby, like whether they steer clear of each other.
Oh yeah, are they solitary, travel in groups? It's a good question, EG. I'm gonna roll.
Thank you.
That is a good question.
Or, I mean, if there is no tendency for either one, would also be valid.
It's like if there's sewage, you'll find them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they show up independently of each other. It's just like the conditions have to be right.
So I will say this: adults tend not to. They tend to be solitary creatures. This one was not an adult.
Okay, so there might be an adult.
And a mommy Ophalth.
Secondarily, if you are curious about their domains, Reginald will tell you. False typically overlap their domains with Otyugs, somewhat of an ancestral enemy of the Ophalths. Though Otyugs have been known to band together in order to take down Ophalths, the Ophalths consider Otyugs to be rather a delicacy in terms of consumption. They particularly enjoy hunting Ophalths particularly enjoy hunting Otyugs to rip them a piece one part at a time.
Hugh, what are Otyugs? Can you tell us more about those?
I've never heard of them.
2 seconds here. You can certainly roll a. Anyone who hears that name can roll an occultism check. He will also roll an occultism check based off of your.
Oh, natty 19.
I'm not
Total
rolling
of-
well on my skill checks.
30.
30.
13.
19.
Best first childhood best friend was an OTO.
That would
I'm
be
an OTM.
My
surprising.
mom's an Otyug.
My mom's
Otyugs are known as the Lords of Trash. Literally, that is one of their names. They are essentially a giant mouth.
Leave up my mother.
They are essentially a giant mouth with a stomach and 4 legs and 3 tentacles. That is an Otyug. They consume anything, literally anything, but they love trash and refuse because it's easy prey, and they just will post up in a sewer and just eat. Sorry, they have 3 legs, not 4. Specifically 3.
So that sounds a lot like those big mouth creatures we saw before. Can we then assume that those are zombified Otyugs if this is a zombified thing that got turned by a zombified thing that sounds like the Otyug? Does that follow? Does that track?
Are you asking me to make an assumption for you?
Yeah, is that in character or to will?
That's in
Reginald.
character. Can also be to Reginald.
Reginald just says, I don't know. This creature appears to have died. The wounds do appear to concur with the thought that it died to a collection of Otyugs, as Ophalths are known to be able to easily overcome a single Otyug, but the Otyugs tend to band together. to defend themselves. This one just appears to have died to a number of Otyugs and has subsequently, through some means, become a zombie version of an Ophoth. As to whether or not...
Possible that it got killed by the Otyugs and then became a zombie afterwards?
It's difficult to say whether or not the Otyugs themselves were zombies. That's generally not how zombification works. But they could be. I just don't know.
Alright.
Okay, so we actually have.
Let's get out of here. Let's go sleep. Let's go talk to JGF.
Let's leave.
Let's de-age 20 years.
Where's Sheethra?
Oh,
We need to find Sheethra. Let's go find Sheethra.
Yes, let's regroup and come to our full strength, and then perhaps we can come back down here.
I slide down the landslide.
You all make
It
your way
looks super
back
cool.
to the crypt where you left Sheethra and the walking cauldron. You make your way
Christopher.
up.
Christopher, the walking cauldron.
You make your way up to the Sears laboratory through the breach in the
Yeah.
wall. You make your way further up into the chapel of Eridan and out the door back into the Ascended Court. And that is where we're going to take our break. We're going to take a quick
Great.
Excellent.
we'll say 10 minutes. So 8:45 Eastern Standard. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you all so much for joining us. Excuse me. And we'll be back soon. Welcome back, everybody. So, you all make it outside back to the streets of the Ascendant Court. Where are we going?
I guess JGF is the first.
Yeah,
move.
let's go see if he can actually do anything. Yeah.
Okay. So,
well, let me be clear about something here. Oski's not suggesting we go there.
No.
I think Twinkle Toes.
No, I think the rest of us are like,
Yeah.
we're taking you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's assigning that you're like the one who's forcing this. You're the one who said like, I'll go with the party, and I think that.
Like anything, we want to bring you there. Like,
Yeah, I think we're kind of dragging you there. Like, I think we're kind of
but not just for you, but also for Twinkle Toes, and I feel like
I'm
she would
like,
beeline.
I want to see if somebody can fix this before 24 hours.
Exactly.
Hopefully, they can do that in addition to doing your curse, that we can all clearly see is affecting you.
So, you all are right about, again, very close to the edge of the crater, in the middle of which is the Starstone Cathedral. Because remember, you could see the pillar and the edges of the cathedral from where you looked out into the hole, the abyss. So you're very, very close, basically the center of Absalom. JGF is out at the Temple of Erastil, all the way over here. So it's going to take you about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to get over to the Temple of Erastil. You get there. It's... Let's see, you start in the morning. About 1 in the afternoon now, at this point. Open the doors. One of the attendants recognizes Kashak and Twinkletoes, is taken aback by Bastro, to say the least. But knows that y'all are there to probably see Johnny Greenfoot. And says, yeah, I'll go. I'll just... and, like, looks back at Bastro again. I'm gonna go, and then turns around, books it to the back of the temple, into one of the doors as you all kind of make your way into the to the main hall. Johnny comes out and says, "Oh, Kashak, Twinkletoes, have we met?" And he looks at both Oski and Bastro.
So
JGF, it's B. It's Bastro.
We met a very, very nasty fellow who did some nasty things to us.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad to see you at least alive. Is there anything I can specifically help you with?
I don't know if you can help Bastro. I think he's doing pretty fine, honestly. Like, he looks very different, but
I didn't realize there was something wrong with me.
He looks to the
honest.
flesh orb gentleman. This is
Bastro.
Bastro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a new hairdo after that run-in with the.
And you can see that he just like clutches at his holy symbol, and he's like muttering. He's muttering a prayer under his breath. He's like taken aback. It's Bastro. My gods.
I'd like to roll make an impression, by the way.
Roll a diplomacy for me.
15 plus.
You've met him before, right?
Yes.
So then.
So that's gonna be a 31.
So
They had easily the strongest relationship.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got a
Yeah.
relationship with you, so you're not making an impression. He's just taken aback.
Okay,
by
good.
the-
I was a bit worried that he was like about to like try to.
No, I mean, if Twinkletoes
Cast
says
spells,
this is Bastro, he'd be like, what the hell happened to you? Like,
Well, maybe trying to counteract any kind of negative reaction, which is like,
Right.
oh my god, like,
Yeah.
or like a loss in diplomacy, whatever.
yeah, I
So-
mean,
yeah.
he's not gonna like hold it against you that you got flesh warped against your will. If Twinkletoes
he
is saying this is
doesn't. He
Bastro.
doesn't know it was against his will. Maybe he signed some consent forms. Who knows? We never saw the initial
You
consultation.
wouldn't happen
with
to
the
have
seer.
a receipt, would you?
My membership at the Nexian gym or
They
something.
should have given you a treatment plan for your whole process.
Like, I'll make a request for your medical documents later.
Of course, we'll get in the way, but that's a whole other thing.
So, Bastro is not why you are here, then?
No, so this guy also hit Oski and I with these really nasty curses, and like, I'm old now, and Oski needs to eat all the time, and that's like really not good for him.
He casts Detect Magic. Bastro, you can clearly tell it is Detect Magic across the four of you. He says, "Oh, yes, quite interesting." He like holds it for a few rounds. Yes. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've met, Mr. Champion?
I believe Mazluda's testing me, and Oski walks out of the shop. Doesn't introduce himself. He like was very uncomfortable the second he walked in. Like there were no introductions. He like didn't really know what was happening, and then like just takes a step outside the shop and is just sort of standing there.
He
I think
turns,
Baxter would follow out.
He turns back to Twinkletoes. I hope I
I
didn't...
didn't realize that you had not met Oski.
No, Oski is his name.
That's his name. He's a worshipper of Mazluda. I don't know if that's gonna... Is that an issue?
I'm vaguely... I mean, it's certainly not an issue. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. But
Okay.
both you and he are certainly cursed. Though you
I
don't
can
look
feel
at-
it. I can feel
don't look a
it.
day older than the time I met you, but...
Well, that's rude as anything.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah, it sounds like an insult.
Johnny, to save you from
You
yourself
should
on this
probably
one,
get your eyes checked, Johnny. There.
to prevent you from digging yourself farther into this hole, I think that our friend Oski is perhaps a bit stubborn, and he maybe prefers results to promises. Maybe if we can show him that you can solve the curse on Twinkletoes, perhaps he's more inclined to resolve the curse on himself. And that's truthfully why we're here today, to ask you for some assistance.
Sure. Twinkletoes, go ahead and roll me a D100.
Okay.
Oh?
Oh, is this to see if you prepare remove curse?
Oh.
You're the worst.
Hey.
Yep, everybody just happens to prepare a very niche spell every day.
11.
What'd you get?
11.
Crit and Delta Green.
It is a crit in Delta Green.
Unfortunately, I don't have the spell prepared today, but if you give me, what is it right now, about 1 in the afternoon? Go to bed at 9 o'clock, which means I'd be about, I'll be able to give it, it's 6 in the morning if you're on a crunch.
I've got that dinner party later, so I'll probably go to bed around 10:30.
I think I'm gonna be okay because from what I understand about the curse he hit me with, like it should be gone in like 14 more hours or something. Like I'll be fine, but he needs help.
You're looking at 9 o'clock for your curse to roll at
AM?
tomorrow. Yeah, 9 a.m.
Whatever.
Yeah, just
I'm in.
for what it's worth.
But he has no preparations of remove curse, so
He
he
does not
can't
have
do
any.
it.
Yeah,
Is it
he
none?
cannot do
Okay.
today.
Wait, so we're
I have to
waiting
roll above
regardless.
50.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you rolled above 50, he'd have one ready to go right now, but he does not.
all
It's
right,
his,
let's.
It's his second highest spell slot, and he usually prepares heals, just for the day-to-day things that you would do as a cleric.
I
Couple
forget in second
consecrates,
edition,
couple
you like
heals.
have to prepare heal. Yeah, you have the divine font, but like that, you have to also prepare heal. Yeah, yeah.
Well, as a layperson,
Right.
of Erastil, he's predominantly just healing people.
He's not getting a whole lot of people coming in with advanced curses.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, all right. We certainly have some errands to run selling these items, and there's things to be done with the rest of our day, I guess. But
well, do you have anything? Maybe I can help you out with that. If you have anything that might be of a divine nature, I would certainly be happy to purchase it from you.
Ishak starts pulling out short sword after short sword.
Do you have any longbows? I would take a longbow.
He pulls out a hand.
You're Rastal. That's your favorite weapon, isn't
He
it?
pulls out a
Please?
hand crossbow.
No, I'm sorry. We only accept longbows in the House of Erastil.
Mom said we had longbows at home. Pulls out hand crossbow.
Longbow's at home. Hammer cross.
We don't have any. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just, if you come across any divine relics, I'd be happy to take them off your hands. But
Well, there is one divine relic that I might want you to take a look at. I can't sell it to you. It's not worth anything, but more as a consultation.
sure, by all means.
It's very precious to me, and it's something that I think is very important to understand what it is.
Okay.
And Kashak will go into his personal pocket and pull out the shiny rock that he found on the roof of that building like 3 days ago.
This.
Was this on the roof outside of the smuggler's
amethyst
den?
gem.
While we were looking for Bastard the first day. Yeah.
Oh,
Hero
right.
point.
It's obviously an amethyst. It's probably worth
Right.
about 10 gold.
I don't know its significance, but I feel it call to me.
He looks over it. He says, "My goodness, this is a very fine rock, Kashak." He casts detect magic over it. He just mutters under his breath. I don't have it. There's something about this rock. It's on the tip of my tongue. If you come back tomorrow, I will prepare a spell where I can divine the exact properties of this rock.
I will
for
do
you."
this, Johnny Greenfoot. I will do this with my utmost attention. There is actually a religious relic that I want you to look at. It's not some dumb rock.
And he's gonna like try to. He actually is gonna say to Johnny,
I think it might be best for us to do this in private, away from prying eyes. It's a
Oh. He takes you over to a confessional booth at the back left of the temple.
yeah.
Follow.
Well, as Johnny's leaving, he's going to tell them to his friends that
perhaps a religious expert can tell us more about the skin saw. I took the banner with the symbol on it, and perhaps he knows more about the symbol or the people that are involved.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being secretive from us, and I wanted to know. So, okay, cool.
he just want to pull out a banner of the Skin Saw cult in the middle of a church of Erastil,
Makes sense.
where people might see him.
Could be pretty sacrilegious.
You guys are more than welcome to come, but like I figured, like whatever. So Kashak will bring that to it's big, so he'll kind of show it to Johnny in private, and then sit down and like wait for him to like think on it or think about it. And
We know this is a banner or a symbol of the skin saw, which is a Norgorber aspect.
As soon as the symbol is displayed at him, he like grabs the top of it and just shoves it back into the bag. Says, "I understand why you brought it here, but I need you to put that away now."
Expected reaction, but I wanted you to see it first. Apologies if any offense has been given.
No offense, just don't bring it back. Tell me, where did you find this?
In the chambers of a very strange creature we know only to be the Seer. It's not the first evidence of this symbol that we've seen, nor is it the first evidence of this cult that we have come across. We believe that they are our primary foe at this point.
Is this seer the one that cursed your friends?
He is the same.
Could you describe the seer for me? What did he look like? Any distinguishing features?
He was almost like a spider. He lived inside of a web. Man's body like a spider centaur. A spider tar.
Knew you were gonna do it.
A sen spider.
Kashak just looks at his hands for a second.
We deduced it was a Drider, right?
No,
Oh.
Oh, we didn't? Oh.
but he says.
But Johnny knows that now.
Johnny does know, and he tells you, the seer, an appropriate name for a Drider. A drow who had been flesh warped, much like your friend Bastro. One of the most devious and cunning and despicable forms of flesh warping. I suppose he was called the seer because Driders are infused with an innate ability to cast divination magics. Seems that this creature also had a penchant for murder, if he was related to the Skinsaw cult. Is there anything else that you can tell me about what you've seen?
Yes. I'm not there.
Players, feel free to remind me, as Kashak would know all
Nope.
of this.
This is between me and Kashak.
We know that our previous foe, Hendred Pratchett, was involved with the Skinsaw cult. We saw symbols of his worship in there. Again, we know it to be a Norgorber aspect or something related to that deity.
Is there anything you tell me about Hendred Pratchett? I'm not familiar.
Forgive me, we've told so many versions of this story to so many people. He was also
He was the big bad from Arc 1.
creating undead or changing bodies. He had jars full of undead abominations, from what I've been told. Or no, I was there. From what I saw myself.
Get your story straight, man!
I'm lost! He was running an inn on the fairgrounds of the Radiant Festival and capturing foreigners and people from out of town, doing experiments on them, carving their bodies and changing them. And now that I say it out loud, it all sounds connected.
Does align with the Skinsaw. You're familiar with the fact that the Skinsaw is an aspect of Norgorber? Well, Norgorber is definitively an evil god. The Skinsaw was potentially the most despicable aspect of Norgorber worship. Patron of assassins, murderers specifically. Funnily enough, his sacred animal, Norgorber, is a spider. So, the Drider aspect makes sense.
An interesting coincidence.
Probably not a coincidence, but
The big connection, or I guess the problem we're facing currently, is that the Seer's laboratory connects to an old Temple of Eredin, right next to the Starstone Cathedral. This temple has been overrun by an undead presence, captained by a Dullahan, and full of creatures that are abominations to both life and death.
Kashak, roll me a diplomacy. And go ahead and take a +2 from Bastro.
Hey.
I will hero point my natural one.
Yeah.
good.
I will hero point my second natural one.
What?
What?
For a natural 19.
Yo,
Hey!
that hero point
Excellent.
economy.
Adjusted 21, thanks to my +2 from Bastro.
Woo! Go ahead and roll me a d6.
D6.
You have no points in diplomacy?
I have none. 3 on the D6.
He says, "Undead, you say? Give me 1 moment." He leaves, comes back 4 minutes later, with 3 vials of holy water.
Yeah.
Nice.
Friends in high places. He says, well, to be honest with you, Erastil tends not to deal with the battle against undeath, but I do have 3 blessed vials of holy water that I've consecrated myself on hand as friends of the Church of Erastil, though I know none of you are worshippers, though I'm always here for the hunters in your group. He gives a wink at Kashak. Here
Oh my god,
are-
I ship Johnny Greenfoot and Kashak now. I'm sorry.
he gives you the vials and says, "This is what I can provide for you at the moment. That, and I will discount my rates to remove the curses from your friends tomorrow. It will be about 33 gold apiece with the discount to remove the curses.
66 gold total then.
I don't need mine removed. I'm fine.
So
Then I'll pay 3
I
hours
will
later.
prepare the spells, whether or not they need them. But if you do choose to use them, unfortunately I must charge for my services, as it does detract from my ability to heal the populace that does come to me.
Stand, we are familiar with the tithes that are required to these churches for their premises and services. It's truly no trouble, and you have always been a friend to us, Johnny, in our darkest hours. It is with great appreciation that the, discount even to paying a church is provided. We understand, and we appreciate you.
And he looks at you and he says, genuinely, I believe that Erastil watches over you, specifically, Kashak. I feel his presence around you. You can believe what you will. I know you are not from this place. I know the gods of the land you are from are different and varied, but the Lord of the Hunt, old Deadeye, is watching. And he puts a hand on your shoulder, says, I will do my best to help you with what I can. And I wish you the best of luck in your journeys to come.
I have been raised to believe that the gold scale, a great dragon in the sky, is the true deity that we should be worshipping. That his fight against the evil deities of the draconic pantheon will consume the earth and... Well, I shouldn't bore you with Sunday school.
He gives
But
you like...
perhaps in this region of the world, away from my clan from before, Erastil could be someone I could call upon in a time of need.
He gives you a very wry smile at mention of the gold scale. Just like a little chuckle. He says, well, I'm sure it sounds as if you have a good collection of powers behind you then. But at the very least, he pulls out a wooden holy symbol of Erastil and hands it to Kashak. At least take this for my sake, then, as a symbol of protection.
He takes it and he will kind of bow very deeply to Johnny Greenfoot when they leave the confessional. I'm assuming this is when this conversation is happening. He'll bow very, very deeply to Johnny and kind of as a parting word. We'll be back tomorrow for our transactions. In the meantime, please take care of yourself and your followers.
I will be ready, and thank you. And with that,
just to be clear, he's not preparing 2 iterations of Remove Curse, right?
He
We
is.
don't need it.
Neither of you.
We told him.
But it's fine.
Twinkle Toes said she didn't need it.
We're only being charged for how many we need, so
Correct.
it doesn't matter.
Like, even if he prepares 2, he's only going to charge us for 1. You know what I mean?
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought he said even if I prepare 2, I'm charging you for 2.
No, he is only going to charge you for the ones that you use.
Okay.
But he will prepare
misunderstood.
2,
Got
and
it.
then
Okay.
use his divine font to cover anything
Got it.
I mean,
incidental.
Kashak will come over and say, like, hey, he's going to prepare 2 number of curses. Like, it's going to be 33 gold. And if Twinkletoes is like, oh, screw that, don't do it for me, I'll be fine. Kashak might run over and be like, hey, just the one. We don't want to burden you with anything else. Just perhaps the one, so we don't waste your 4th level spell slot.
And potentially, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Regardless, it'll be all right.
Yeah. not worry about it. Okay, cool.
Don't
So,
feel
yeah,
like you're putting out the cleric for asking for his help when he offered it. So
Kashak will kind of report back to the group some of the maybe connections that Johnny Greenfoot helped him make about spiders and murder and the connection from Hendred Pratchett to the rest of this.
yeah, the big thing was the fact that Driders are
And
A,
Drider's divination magic.
flesh
Yeah.
warped. B, the flesh
Yeah,
warping
that's-
process that
didn't know
gives them inherent divination magic, which ties into the theories that you all have heard so far
Yeah.
about Fayati or Feliz, again, whichever name you choose to use for her, and her payment to the cult, and her connection to the cult. Yeah.
We're still just not sure about the seer's real position within the cult or connection to the cult specifically, right? We know there's an obvious connection. Their laboratory is connected to the dungeon they're basing their operations out of. But like, was the seer a general? Was the seer on contract?
Sure.
Did the seer just like the cult?
Yeah, I don't think we have that information.
You've not
but we
gotten
know
that
there's
information.
definitely some sort
Specifically,
of connection.
yeah.
You have not gotten
Yeah.
that information yet.
But very cool that all these kind of lines are now connecting to each other,
Crossing,
and it's all
yeah.
it's all bridging
Also-
the gap. Yeah.
Would just like to point out that our first encounter in this adventure was with some skeletons too.
That I had that same thought, crawling out
Yeah.
of the drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an answer for that though, right? Because it's like the lingering undead or negative energies from the Whispering Tyrant's
Yeah.
reign about a year ago.
Which
Is like
could also be
festering,
part of the
yeah.
undeath in here.
totally could.
So
There's definitely overlap, though. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
going underground and fighting a bunch of undead. Like,
Yeah.
I will
That's all
say,
connected. Yeah, it's all connected.
the Precipice Quarter, all of you would know this at this point, the Precipice Quarter is specifically prone to undead because it was reclaimed. It was taken over during the Radiant Siege
Right.
and then reclaimed. So it had a particular issue with lingering undead that seems to be disconnected from the Ascendant Court, which never fell during any siege.
It's not safe to walk around.
lingering undead issue.
It's not safe to walk around the Precipice Quarter at night. There's skeletons at night.
Depending on who you ask, the
Lingering
Absalom
undead.
government has done a terrible job of fixing up the Precipice Quarter in time. So,
Where is Johnny Greenfoot? Are we in Eastgate or
You are
are we
in
back in the
Eastgate.
Precipice?
over
It is
here.
Eastgate. Okay.
Right about here.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Where are you guys going now?
I think it's best for us to sell some of this dead weight. Again, pulling out no fewer than like 9 short swords.
Before we leave, I would have wanted to pop out and talk to Oski.
Oh, and obviously I would give you the holy water, Bastro, because you had just talked about this cool spell you got with all
They
the holy
have
water.
3 vials of holy water.
So you'd be like, there you go. Yeah, this
Just
for you.
need one.
I walk outside and I put my hand up, I reach up and grab Oski's hand and I'm like, hey buddy, how you doing?
Oski maybe is like, where is this? Is this like a temple or is this a temple of Arastorin?
It is a Temple of Erastil, so there is it's essentially like a big wooden hunting lodge.
Yeah, cool.
But it's in kind of a more forested section. You can tell that they have very manicured lawn with big oak trees, lots of bushes and foliage, and a wild not like a manicured grass lawn. It's all wild underbrush that has been very carefully and meticulously crafted and grown. You can tell that it's
There's
specifically
just
meant.
stags everywhere.
There are no wild animals, unfortunately, but there are many statues, wooden, spell crafted statues of wooden stags that look as if they are just ranging around the space. It is they've got a line of hedges around, and essentially inside
Christmas reindeer made out of
Yeah.
whatever.
inside of this 2x2 square acre hedge, it looks like a forest with a hunting lodge in the center.
There is what can only be described as too many stags. Too many running around the streets, just ambling around the neighborhood.
It's a really, like, refreshing natural space in the middle of this massive city.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And Eastgate is already, like, very suburban, like medieval suburban, so, like, very natural compared to the rest of the city. But this space is, like, very wild.
Reclaimed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, you find Oski. He's outside sitting down.
Okay, so in that case, I come over and I put my hand on his shoulder and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
I don't know, Twinkle Toes. I don't know. And you see him, like, when you ask him, he, like, rubs his temples and the tattoos are moving. They are. And it's like, I've struggled with this for some time now, but it's never been like this. It's constant. This urge is it won't cease. Whatever that thing did to me in that cavern, it's pounding at my brain. It won't go away. Masluta is testing me. She is tempting me. She is trying to test my strength, my will. I don't know. I don't understand. And you see, like, he is, like, agonizing over like why is this happening? Like,
Oski,
what's
Oski.
going on?
Masluta didn't do this to you. You know that, right?
And he does one of those, like, okay, sure, like, yeah, okay, yes, but
So, this is something that was outside of our control, and I know that's hard to grapple with because, like, we want to be in control of the things that happen to us. But, you know, I got hit with a curse too. Obviously, it's not as hurtful to my core as I think yours was to yours. But we're gonna get rid of it. Like 6 o'clock tomorrow, it's gone. So we just need to get you through till then. Is that okay?
he looks up, and I think just, like, the purity of the kindness sort of gets to Oski, and you see tears start welling up a little bit in Oski's eyes, and he just sort of nods, like, he's not making eye contact with you while you're talking to him. And he just sort of nods and looks up at you and goes, you know, Twinkle Toes, you don't look half bad with silver hair.
Thank you.
And just says, for the good of the group, I think you're right.
I'm thinking maybe we should just, like, find a room maybe at our place. I don't know if you want to go back to our place, because I have a feeling that all of your reserves are going to be gone by the morning if we do that.
He starts salivating, thinking about the food he has back at the apartment.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe we should grab a room for you at an inn and maybe just, like, knock you out for the night.
There's that
Like-
one piece of cake that Oski has been saving for like 3 days in a Tupperware in the fridge back at your apartment, and it's the only thing he can think about. Okay, so you all leave the little sanctum of the Temple of Erastil. We have some equipment to sell. Do we have a total on that?
We do.
Okay.
However, I have a proposal. The total resale value, you know, with the divided by 2 and everything, of all the stuff we're going to sell in the bag is 62 gold and 8 silver. I think it's smart to just take the 33 gold straight out of that pile.
Well, hold off on that because I need somebody to roll me a diplomacy check or a deception check for bartering.
I want to do diplomacy or deception.
I need
it's
one
the same for
person to do it, and anybody can assist.
both. Okay.
But it's just gonna be one roll for the bartering.
Hey, Bastro, what's your bonus to these?
So it
It's
goes to
gonna
take off
be,
that extra +2 to your
This is
charisma.
What is that, text conversation?
It's a plus 16.
Okay, so I'll assist.
Oski will assist as well to the extent he can.
Kachak will
Remember, you
fail
were
to
going to
check.
be using the skill that Bastro decides to use. So keep that in mind.
Diplomacy.
Diplomacy. Okay, so that's a 21. So
Okay,
I
+1
succeeded.
from Twinkle Toes.
I rolled a 19 total. I don't listen.
Ouch.
At least you didn't
I'll
take
lose
away
to you.
Twinkletoe's bonus.
Yeah.
So
rolled-
Bastard Diplomacy to +1 from Twinkletoes.
Cool. So, that math is hard. 33.
33. Okay. So instead of selling for 50% of the value, you can sell for 65% of the value. So I'm going to just destroy all the math you did on your spreadsheet.
What was the point?
But just change the value from 0.5 to 0.65.
Okay. Is there an easier math than that? If I just
Okay, so it's 62.8 is how much total?
not 0.8.
Yeah, what's the total?
Well, you said 60.
Oh, the total is 62.8 gold.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
times that by 0.65.
Times that by 0.65. Yeah.
I got it. 40.8.
No, that's the half. That's the half.
Oh,
half-
62.8 was the half?
Yeah.
Oh, then
So,
double that. Then times the doubled by
5.6.
0.65.
125.6 times 0.65.
81.64 is our total.
There you go. So that's how
Nice.
much gold. That will take you the rest of the day. So no
Yeah.
shopping, nothing else. That's
Good.
purely
20,
just
41
selling.
each.
That's fine.
41
Where are you
each.
sleeping?
At home. Wait, no.
You can spend what is it? 1, 2, 3. You can spend 4 silver and get a room in Eastgate. Not that hard.
Let's do it.
that.
Let's do it.
Do that.
So spend 4 silver as a group, whether or not somebody wants to just front that. Get
I'll
a
do
room
it.
in Eastgate. It's not the best, but you get a room.
Okay, so 81.64 is the gold we're going to make from selling. I think it makes sense to just take 33 out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so minus
Oh,
33.
I see.
And then divide that by 4, so that's 12 gold, 16
gold.
copper.
Yeah. Each.
Cool.
Okay.
That good each.
It is.
Some sweet each.
By the time you wake up in the
Sweet,
morning,
sweet
it
each.
is, and after everybody has done their daily preparations, it is 7 a.m. Do you go to
7 a.m. the
JGF?
usual morning light.
Twinkletoes?
Yeah.
You still have 2 hours of advanced age at this point.
Uh-huh.
Oski, you still have 6 days and 2 hours of.
Oh, and I take
Yes, you
2
take an
points
additional
of, 2 points of damage.
D4 of unhealable damage. What is your total unhealable damage at this point?
That's the first time I rolled it because you told me I didn't roll when the curse was cast on me.
That's true. You are correct.
So this is the first iteration of that.
So 2 points of unhealable damage from the curse.
Unhealable until the curse is removed, to be clear.
At the moment, it is unhealable. Yes, until the curse
Yeah.
is removed. Very good. I'm assuming Bastros and whoever Oski, you all spent the necessary time to heal back to full with the rest and everything. Don't need to worry about that. We're heading to JGF.
Kashak wants to buy some health potions on the way also.
I think you would sell them, right? JGF? No?
JGF doesn't have health potions now. He has scrolls,
Yeah,
but
I'm-
you have to go to Marvin's to get health potions.
Yeah,
Kashak, if you want to
well,
split off and do that, you can.
I'll do that, yeah.
Kashak, I'll come with you.
No, we need you to. No, never mind. Wrong person. Yeah.
Twinkletoes.
He'll also take money from you guys if you want to also buy potions.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys
Well,
want to fill
that's
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything
Those
alchemical up to level 6 you can purchase from Crazy Merida, Potes and Totes.
You know,
Yeah.
and Bastard will say this to the group. I only have this 12 gold now because everything else was taken from me since the incident. If you could get me a health potion or two, I don't really have the gold right now, but I can definitely pay you back later. Cause
I got you, buddy.
That is so tragic. But unfortunately, I only take payment in advance. I don't.
I
need
got
credit.
you, buddy. And
Thank you, Twinkle Toes.
I like am trying to
and-
reach up and shut Kashak up, but I can't reach. I'm just
And
like
Kashak,
his belly.
you
Just
get the-
punching
you get
his
the
knee,
dirtiest-
yeah. Like,
Kashak, you get the dirtiest glare from the half of his face with all of his eyes.
Just all of his eyes
Oh,
just
like,
going
so
narrowed at him.
I got burned on a loan from a good friend a couple years ago. I haven't talked to him since. It's not you. It's just like a policy of mine. It's a thing. I don't know.
Are we just your friends, Kashok? I thought we were family. And
If you were my family, then we'd be friends on Venmo. But I sent you a friend request on Venmo like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't seen anything. So
I don't know what this Venmo is. Let's go.
And none of you want to download Cash App for me, so I guess that's where we're at. So, we have Kashak and Twinkletoes going to Crazy Merida's Poets Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
Oski Bastro going to JGF. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Let's start with the potions. Twinkletoes, go ahead and roll a diplomacy for me.
Alright.
You walk in, he says, "Oh, hey guys, how y'all doing? Back to get some
Going,
potions?
Marvin,
Alright,
Marvin."
okay. What do y'all need today?"
Whatever healing potions you got.
Alright, like what kind of strength are you looking for? Do you want like a little, like just super media, like lower strength, moderate strength? Like what are we talking?
We're looking for lessers. We're looking for moderates. Probably gonna stop
Sure,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got well today, unless you want to make like a same day shipping kind of thing, I've got 3 lessers, 1 moderate. I'm a little low at the moment on heal. You'd be surprised how fast
Oh.
these things go. Like, man.
Oh, I'm sure. What about minor? Sorry, I forgot minor was in the steps there.
Let me pull up my sheet real quick. And you're going for elixirs or potions?
Potions.
Potions. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I think we will take the moderate and the lessers. Just
so we've got minor. Do you want any minors?
Yeah.
He's got 5 minors.
Okay.
He's got 3 lessers. He's got 1 moderate. If you want anything higher than that, he can get it, but it will be an upcharge because.
I mean, the higher than that is out of our price range.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like.
It's a 400 gold item. We cannot afford that.
No.
I mean, Kashak was going to buy a moderate and 2 lesser for himself.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the rolls just happened to work out where it was 5-3-1. So.
No, that's fine. I think we just buy the lot. No?
Yeah. Sounds good.
So 20, 36, so 56, 106 gold.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gold, y'all.
It's good cause.
Twinkletoes, roll a diplomacy for me.
All right. 25.
25. Look, y'all have been great, and I mean, if I'm gonna sell out this early in the morning on healing potions, I'll do for you all 95 gold.
We'll take it.
We greatly
like a-
appreciate it.
It's like a 10% discount, but I need y'all to come back and get some more
Obviously.
potions.
Of course.
Anytime.
Where else would we go for potions if not here?
Well, I mean, there's like
No,
Like
no,
4
don't
other
give us
potion
options. Don't give us.
Yeah,
don't give us other options. Don't give us.
Awful salesman.
That feels like bad business. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert, but I wouldn't tell
I
us what
mean-
your competitors have.
if I'm gonna be honest, I just work here. Like,
He actually owns all the shops he was
I
about.
mean, Merida is my.
Do you have any authority to give us this discount, or are you just robbing from the store?
Merida is my aunt, but like, I'm hourly, so like,
That's true. That's the mentality right there. Okay, who's taking what potion? I would love the moderate.
You go ahead and take the moderate. I have
Okay.
one. I would like one of the lessers.
Okay, I was looking for a moderate and 2 lessers regardless.
We have 135.
Yeah. So like, if you want to take one of the lessers and all of the minors, and I'll take the moderate and 2 of the lessers, that works for me.
Okay. I think.
Does that also work for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Oski gets nothing.
I don't want any. I already have a lesser, and I feel like I shouldn't have potions.
So do we want to just do 45 each Or 42 and a half each.
Bastard did specifically ask for potions.
Yeah, I'll bring him back some
Keep
of
them.
them.
Oh, I mean, I'm spending way more than that. Mine are going to cost like 66 gold. I was just going to
Okay.
spend that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's not. Yeah, I'm fine with paying.
However, you all want to split that up. Let's not worry about it too much right now.
Yeah.
Just keep the 95 gold in mind and split that across the 3 people who want potions after we talk.
Well,
We're going to cut to Oski and Bastro. You both are walking back to JGF's. It's like 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. There's like a nice little like bramble arch in the hedge fence that marks the edge of the property of the temple. You both pass under it. You continue up to the large wooden double door, the head of the stag carved prominently with a bow above it, 2 arrows facing upwards, the symbol of Erastil. Sorry, it's 1 arrow facing downwards because I'm an idiot. For the symbol of Erastil above the head of the stag.
Immersion broken.
And Oski, you get maybe 20 feet away from the front door with Bastra leading the way. Can you drop to the other Discord channel for me?
Oh my god, what?
On
Yes,
stream?
I can.
On
Okay.
stream.
Hi, Will. What's happening?
You make your way to...
We're on stream.
Yeah, oh yeah. The stream
Cool.
can hear you and me.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right.
Like I said, you're about 15 feet away from the front double doors.
Yeah.
And you just feel this pressure on your head.
Yeah.
And you begin to just get like a tunnel vision.
Okay.
That like circles down till you can like only make out the doors and this stag head.
Okay.
And the hunger from this curse, already like insufferable, just begins to well up. And it's as if your whole body is just screaming this like whistle in your ears, like this high-pitched whining in your ears. And you kind of lose track, lose sense. But eventually you hear a voice.
Okay.
Accept the hunger. Feed. Consume. Devour.
That's what I hear. Like inside my head.
Inside your head, that is the voice that you hear. The ringing disappears. The fatigue disappears. But the hunger remains. And we can jump back up to the other channel.
Okay.
How'd it go?
Oski turns to Bastro. And he you're walking like mostly silent. I don't know. Maybe you're trying to make small talk, but Oski's not really receptive to it. and you get maybe 15, 20 feet away from JGF's, or the temple where JGF is, and Oski just stops. He just stops. Would you say anything to him?
Yeah,
Like, he's like standing there.
Bastard would definitely walk a few feet forward, realize he's not walking with his friend, and turn around and be like, Oski, we're almost there, let's go. Oski?
Will, is there any other, like, is there anything else around besides what you previously described? Like, is it empty?
Outside of the like statues of the stags and does, outside of the plant life, there's nobody here. No, there's like a dirt and gravel path up to the front doors, but that's about it.
Okay. There's no response for a second, Bastro. Maybe you try a couple times. There's no response. And Oski, like, appears to come to, and you see that the tattoos on his head stop moving, but they're definitely larger than they have been before. And Oski looks up at Bastro and says, Bastro, I can't do this. This is wrong.
What do you mean you can't do this? Do what? You can't. Come on, Oski. I think we really need to get you to JGF. Ambassador's gonna try to reach out and grab Oski's hand or wrist, I guess.
You grab his wrist.
Yeah.
The tattoos begin moving as Oski casts Glutton's Jaws on himself and attacks Bastro.
No.
What time is it? 9:40. Yeah, that's where we're gonna end it for tonight, ladies and
Oh my
gentlemen.
gosh!
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in. Oh wait, is next week Easter?
Next week is Easter.
Quick vote: are we streaming next week or no? We didn't talk about this, and we should have.
I'm fine next week.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Whatever.
Jack?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
We're streaming that, so we'll see y'all next week.
Quick vote.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll figure out what's going on next week.
Panic,
Thanks. Bye.